Is it recording?
I don't know.
Maybe you can stop it.
Maybe you can introduce it when I get my beats.
Okay. Hello. Namaste. Haribo. Peace be with you and upon you. I love that sign, I don't know, from John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I was just a kid. I was 8 years, maybe 6 or 7 when they were doing it, when they had or maybe it was before I know Lennon was murdered in 1980. But they had a beautiful sign up somewhere in London and New York City.
Go ahead. War is over.
War is over if you want it. This also reminds me of that poem I like by Basho. In making a cup of tea, I stopped the war. Not that you magically stop the war somewhere else, but really you stop the war for a moment for yourself. Taking a moment of transcendence, to transcend above or beyond the constant challenges of the body and mind in the material world, and to taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. We're just going to do a little chanting on our beads. You can listen, you can put on your headphones if you like. We're not doing this to impress you, but maybe just to impress upon you that this is something you can take with you everywhere. It's so beginner and advanced at the same time. I know people that are the most advanced people I've ever met in my life. They're also the most kind and humble and hardworking and devoted, but they still chant on their beads, and it becomes a real pleasure. But in the beginning, sometimes you just have to do a practice in order to get a real taste for it. If you just do a few and try it for one day, you won't know. But for the last 26 years, no matter where I've gone, no matter what I've been doing, I've always been able to have these beads with me, and they're not eternal, but the practice I do on them is, and it's the practice of mantra meditation, from manas, mind, to give shelter to the mind. We're always looking for shelter. We're always looking to, just like bees too, we're always looking for nectar everywhere. We're looking for pleasure. And what I found, and many others have found, is that in transcendental sound, I can find shelter and pleasure at the same time. And in a way where I've certainly gone through periods where I wanted to try and find pleasure, to satisfy that pleasure through my tongue, and I just get fat. So the nice thing about chanting on beads is that we get shelter and pleasure without the downsides of seeking those things in material life. It's a very simple process, but it's also very humbling also, which is a very nice thing to feel. Whenever I feel a shred of humility, it's a very sweet taste, one that I pray and hope that I can expand. How about you?
I didn't find any exercise yet that calms the mind so quickly.
Yeah. So we're just going to do a little, we'll just do this together for a little bit. I usually don't say it so loud. I just say it out loud enough that I can hear it. But I have found that when my mind or my body or both are more agitated, if it's safe and appropriate to do so, I chant a little louder, and it really it brings sometimes I'm furious on my I'm rolling the bead back and forth, and sometimes I'm just really peacefully touching it, but I'm engaging the sense of touch, the hearing, the voice. Sometimes we have nice pictures up too that we can engage in our eyes, being engaged in transcendental meditation. But for now, we're going to do the mantra Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. You want to say that together? Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. We'll do it a little faster, but again, you just do it as long as you can hear the sounds. You can say it as slow or fast as you like. But we'll just do it for some cadence. We'll do, 10 to 15 beats here. And it's so nice for us, and please share in in this practice with us of Japa Mala meditation on beads. Okay, Gauranga. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Next beat. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. 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 Hari Bol. Whoa. It's very nice in stereo. No. It's the sun came up and I was just feeling this warmth coming over me, not just physically, but also in my heart. And I felt sort of a giddiness. I find that when I surrender more to the sound, it bubbles up some feelings of joy and ecstasy in my heart. And sometimes I get a bit silly and jump up and jump around.
Oh yeah, like the song that you found, right?
Yeah.
This Transcendental music, he started to play it and then you just started to smile and laugh and jump around, and he was chanting, and it was so contagious.
Yeah.
It's really sad we can't play music on YouTube because of property rights. But
we'll try to play. Maria got me a really nice guitar in Vienna.
Yeah.
And we'll try to do more kirtan together on the road. We're heading over to the UK soon, so you'll see some different sites and places.
Yeah.
We're going to take a ferry across to Italy and then drive through Italy
Oh, we
and
will
France.
do some on the ferry.
Yeah.
That will be fun.
We'll have some ferry meditation.
Ferry meditation.
And then we'll get into the UK. And
yeah, that will be something.
We're letting go of some more material things that we don't need or we can't use anymore, and they're hard to carry around in a small van. So we've been in this process. Well, maybe this will be a good chance to introduce, but over the next 10 to 15 days, we had a lot of people want to ask us more about how we came to the place of just having a lot more freedom, free time.
Look at that bird over there.
Oh, where?
It's on the road.
On the road?
Yeah, on the road.
Oh, there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's really colorful. Sorry.
So many birds get my attention. They represent freedom to me. They fly and they sing so beautifully.
Yeah.
If I could only sing like
No,
those
we
birds.
just concluded the first 2 weeks of JuicyMagiK on the daily, so maybe we can start diving into some topics that people are asking us about.
And we're talking about really a lot of the practice we do is all about redefining. Really, a lot of people think wealth is one thing, and we're just trying to give a different perspective on what wealth is unfolding for us inside. And then the exterior wealth, it looks very different than it might have 30 years ago when I was 20 years old or whatever. And no matter what happens to me in the future, I hope I can come to this type of understanding more and more at a much younger age in body. I'm eternal, but I don't think this might be my last kick at the can around the planet. I've still got a lot of work to do. So it's up to God, but in my activities. But
so we were thinking of taking wealth in all ways as a guiding topic for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we find too that in our studies almost all the scriptures around the world. They talk about equal weights and measures.
Keep that for the next one.
Yeah, and they talk usury and what is money and how to engage money so that it becomes spiritually purified. And we want to talk about some new technologies too that have a great deal of potential for goodness, for good in Bitcoin and in how do we keep things real when we've got AI and central bank digital currencies and all of these networks that are can be used very negatively. But just like nuclear energy, we can use it for good as well. There's a great deal of possibility. But like always, without a purified or at least a better understanding of consciousness and who we are, a lot of these technologies just get used for bad things. So just like electricity, you can use it to make some toast, or you can use it to electrocute someone. So, or use that force for negative things. So, yeah, we'd love to be offering more just frank discussions about how we simplified a lot of our processes, the simple processes we engage in, the habits that we've cultivated and continue to cultivate, so that we have this really nice chance to spend a lot more time in reflection, in contemplation, rumination, in deep thoughts around some beautiful scriptures we're studying, mantra meditation, Japa, Kirtan, Gauranga breathing, and eating a very simple diet, peaceful diet, and just some simple things you can do no matter what stage of life you're in. Some very simple things that are profound over time that you can do just around meal times and with some incense and a few things you can really deeply begin to develop more gratitude and forgiveness and thankfulness in your life, and share that with those around you. That's the wealth that we're truly looking for, is love for God, love for others, more constant understanding of our true identity, purpose, function, position. When we know who we are and where we belong and how we fit in a sense, into the cosmic scheme of things, it's easier just to be more of ourselves. And I've personally found that to be incredible relief. We talk about shelter like an umbrella, but just having a certain level of surrender and acceptance gives a great deal of relief as well, because I don't have to do it on my own anymore.
You've never been alone in the first place.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Do you want to tell the story about the footsteps in the sand?
Oh gosh.
You said that touched you so deeply at some point.
Yeah, well, a long time ago, many moons ago, as a 17-year-old, I went to Japan for a year for an exchange, and my oldest childhood friend, my best friend at the time, and still an incredible friend. I mean, I now know my best friend is the Supreme Person. And no disrespect to my oldest childhood friend. I admire him a great deal. He's a very intelligent person and very compassionate as well, and community driven, and wants to help the world with just taking better care of the world we have. But we used to write each other a lot of letters, a lot of postcards, and we were always like doodling, and we would take a nice thing and we would draw like a monster coming up out of the sea or whatever. And in one of these exchanges, I had gotten one of these, I'd been away. I was away in Japan for the first time for a very long time, away from my family, my culture, my home, everything that seemed familiar and normal to me. And it was a big part of shaking up that world and getting me more into meditation, because I began a more formal practice of impersonal silent meditation when I was in Japan, one that carried over from my next door neighbor, who was my godfather since I was born, a Japanese man named Paul Nakatsu, and he also taught me meditation at a very young age, but again, it was an impersonal, quiet, silent meditation. But when we were over there, I could feel the feelings of, I felt really sad, sometimes very lonely. Even though I was surrounded by, and the Japanese people were wonderful. I stayed with some incredible families. I'm hoping next year to go back and meet them again. These families that took me in as a young man and hosted me as if I was their own son. They were so kind to me, and people in Japan were so incredibly, so respectful and clean and neat, and I really admire Japan and the Japanese people and their culture and many of their social arts. I got involved in judo, and then we'd go to the rock gardens every month in Kyoto to study with the Zen master there. And my host fathers were really happy because no one wanted to go do the old things, the old ways with them, and I did. And I was kind of like having lots of dads. They took me around to see the ancient sites, Nara, and some of the ancient pilgrimage routes in Shikoku and Kyushu. Lots of beautiful nature there as well. But in one of these exchanges, there was one of these very Hallmark type card where you see the footsteps in the sand. Yeah, I mean, millions of people have seen this image, and it's like, it's a little story like about, oh God, there's two sets of footprints as if God's always with us, and then this person only sees one set of footprints. And he's like, why, Lord, at the time, I'm doing a terrible job of paraphrasing it, but in the card, basically, the person is asking God, why, during my hardest parts of life, did you leave me? There's only one set of footprints. And he said, no, my child, that's when I was carrying you. And something in that really hit me. There was some transcendental wisdom in that Hallmark card, and it really dawned on me in that moment. It became covered up again and then exposed again, but it really felt like I just felt this huge yearning in my heart to suddenly realize how much I needed someone higher than me, bigger than me. I needed the shelter and protection of the telephone calls to my biological parents weren't cutting it. I needed something much bigger than me to give me the feeling of being at home, and of being protected, of being loved. Lots of people there at the time. It was, there weren't as many foreigners there, and it was like being a rock star to some degree. You had a lot of people coming up and taking pictures and wanting to touch you and fawning over you, wanting to take you out for karaoke or just to be seen with their friends. And it didn't really, it was fun for a week or two, but it became actually quite annoying and troublesome, and it didn't satisfy. It didn't give me a sense of a good feeling. I just wanted to be left alone, but that I just remember being profoundly impacted by that feeling of, that's so true. I need someone to carry me through the trials and tribulations of this world. Being in strange lands can precipitate that feeling. So just know that you're never alone, and that actually the Supreme Person.
You're never alone.
And it's nice to be around others that can help remind me of that. Or it's really, I encourage you to find other people to be with who can remind you of that, especially in this time where it's just really nuts out in the world. Just complete madness. There is no really good leadership out there, hardly at all. There are a few leaders that are inspiring. Yeah.
It's getting late.
It's getting late?
Yes.
Time to wrap things up?
Yeah, and I want to see the goats.
You can hear that's right. We can hear goats.
Can we see the goats?
Yeah, they put these lovely bells. They're almost like, the cows in Switzerland where they have the bells around their neck.
Can we see the goats, please?
Yeah, let's go see the goats. We like hanging out with it's nice. The animals do love the chanting too, That's another thing. Transcendental sound, you can share it with every living entity. It's really hard to drive by a cat that's suffering at the side of the road with a limp and just silently meditate with it, and you'll crash your car. But you can chant Haribol or Gauranga out the window. And the cat's always like they always look, and it's a very nice way to give some mercy, some kindness, some shelter, a taste of the transcendental to people in other bodies. Everyone's looking for the same shelter and love. So with that,
Haribol.
Haribol, Namaste, and peace be with you and upon you. Thanks for hanging out with us today.